In this presentation, I'm going to discuss about the three-dimensional arrays. So let's get started. How to visualize a three-dimensional array? If I want to visualize a two-dimensional array, I can visualize it in this way. This two-dimensional array consists of 3 rows and 3 columns, right? It is just a simple matrix. But what happens if I add one more dimension here? Then it becomes a three-dimensional array, isn't that so? What does this statement says? It says that I want two such two-dimensional arrays which consist of 3 rows and 3 columns. That means something like this. Two two-dimensional arrays which consist of 3 rows and 3 columns. Now, I want to access the element in the first row and third column of the first 2D array. In order to do that, I have to specify something like this. Here 0 indicates the first 2D array, this 0 indicates the first row, and this 2 indicates the third column. That means finally, I would be able to access this particular element, right? Now after understanding this, let's try to understand how we can initialize a three-dimensional array. If you want to initialize a three-dimensional array, there are basically two methods. And here is method number 1, which says that if you want to initialize a three-dimensional array, then simply specify all the elements in a sequence. Then these elements will get stored in a contiguous fashion in this array. But obviously this is not a best method because we won't be able to visualize how these elements will get stored in this 3D array. In order to visualize that, there is another method. In this method, as we can see, these flower brackets indicates that this is our first 2D array, and these flower brackets indicates that this is our second 2D array. This is the first row of this first 2D array, and this is the second row of the first 2D array. Similarly, this is the first row of the second 2D array, and this is the second row of the second 2D array. Okay, this is obviously the better method. Now, after understanding how we can initialize a three-dimensional array, let's try to understand how we can print the elements of the 3D array. Recall that in order to print the elements of one-dimensional array, we have to use a single for loop. That means something like this. A single for loop helps us in printing all the elements of a one-dimensional array. And if we want to print all the elements of a two-dimensional array, then we can print that with the help of two for loops, right? Now you can guess that in order to print the elements of a three-dimensional array, we require 3 for loops. So now my target is to print all the elements which are stored in this particular array. Please note down that here we are having two two-dimensional arrays which consist of 2 rows and 3 columns. Here I indicates the 2D array index, J indicates the row index, and K indicates the column index. Okay. Now let me simulate the whole process so that we can better understand how these elements will get printed on the screen. As I is initialized to 0, that means we want to access the first 2D array first. And we can check that 0 is less than 2, right? Therefore condition is satisfied. Therefore we will come inside this for loop, and in this for loop we are initializing j to 0. That means we want to access the first row of this first 2D array. J is less than 2, that is 0 is less than 2. Condition is satisfied. We'll come inside this for loop, and here we will encounter another for loop which is containing k. K indicates the column index, right? And k is also initialized to 0. That means we want to access this particular element. 0 is less than 3, right? Condition is satisfied. Therefore, we can print aijk, which means we can print this particular element on the screen. After printing this element, this k will get incremented. Now k becomes 1. 1 is less than 3. Condition is satisfied. Therefore, this time we will print this element. Please note down that I is 0 and j is also 0 while printing this element. That means we are still in the first 2D array and the first row, but k will get incremented. That means column is incremented. That means we are jumping from this position to this position. Simple, isn't that so? Now the k will get incremented again. K now becomes 2. 2 is less than 3. Condition is satisfied. Therefore, we'll jump to this particular location because we are still at first row of this first 2D array. Only the k will get incremented, right? Therefore, this element will get printed on the screen. After that, k will again get incremented. But this time k is now 3. 3 is not less than 3. Condition is not satisfied. Therefore, we will exit from this for loop. And this means this time we will increment the value of j. This means we will jump from first row to second row. After incrementing, j becomes 1. 1 is less than 2, condition is satisfied. Therefore, we'll come again inside this for loop and k will again get initialized to 0. That means we will again start from the first column itself. But this time we are in the second row of this first 2D array. As k is 0 and 0 is less than 3 condition is satisfied, we know that this element will get printed on the screen. Similarly, after the increment of the k, these elements will get printed on the screen. Then again the condition will get failed when we reach at k equals to 3. 3 is not less than 3, condition is not satisfied, therefore we'll come outside of this for loop. And again we will increment the value of j. This time j becomes 2 and 2 is not less than 2. Therefore the condition is not satisfied and hence we come outside of this for loop and now we will increment the value of I. Because there is the need to come to the second two-dimensional array. I will get incremented means that I now becomes 1. 1 is less than 2, condition is satisfied. Therefore we will again come inside this for loop and again j will get initialized to 0. This means that we are now in the first row of the second two-dimensional array. 0 is less than 2, condition is satisfied. We'll again come inside this for loop. K is again initialized to 0. That means we are now in the first column of the first row of this two-dimensional array. 0 is less than 3, condition is satisfied. We come inside this for loop and we will print this particular element, that is 7. After this, k will again get incremented. K now becomes 1. 1 is less than 3, condition is satisfied. We'll print this particular element next. Then we know the next element which will get printed on the screen is 9. After this condition is failed, we'll come to this point. J will get incremented, means that we'll come to the second row. 1 is less than 2, condition is satisfied. Therefore, we will again come inside this for loop and again value of k will get initialized to 0. This means now we are in the first column of the second row, right? Therefore, this element will get printed on the screen after this condition is satisfied. And now we know that these elements will get printed after printing 10. After this condition failed, we'll come at this point, j will again get incremented, but 2 is not less than 2, condition is not satisfied. Therefore, we'll come outside of this for loop. And after that, we will increment the value of I. I becomes 2 and again 2 is not less than 2, condition is not satisfied. Therefore, finally, we will come outside of this for loop.